Hey guys, hope you are doing well. Before we start, let's have a quick recap on what we discussed in our last video.
We discussed various environments where you can write your Python code like general purpose text editor, full IDEs and notebooks. Also we discussed how to download Sublime Text from the Sublime Text website and write some code in it and save it and how to execute that file. Then we discussed how to launch Jupyter Notebook from Anaconda Navigator and how to write some code in Jupyter Notebook. Then we launched Spider from Anaconda Navigator and got acquainted with the IDE. I shared you a very useful tip to how to run Python command from command prompt on Windows or from terminal on Mac and Linux. And lastly, as a homework, I requested you to get acquainted with the Jupyter Notebook so that you may understand my subsequent videos.
Welcome to the third video of this tutorial series, Python 3 from basic to advanced, where we will discuss variables, numbers and strings. I will recommend you to watch this video till the end, as I would give you a very useful tip and a homework at the end of this video. Before we start, let's see what we will discuss in this video. We will discuss variable in Python. We will discuss number type variables, specifically integers and floats. We will discuss string variables and indexing of string and slicing of string in this video. Now let's start with the video.
Now let's discuss what are variables in Python. Variables are the names given for referencing some data to be used in our code when required. They are actually the names of the location that store the actual values. They can be of many types. For example, int x equal to 5 is an integer variable. strname equal to Python is a string variable, where both int x and strname are variable names of type integer and string. While giving variable names, you have to follow certain rules, like variable names cannot start with numbers, nor they can have spaces between the words, and you can use underscore or camel casing to separate the words. Camel casing is a way of writing variable names where first letter will be of small letter and subsequent starting letter of the words will be of capital, without any spaces between them. Also, variable names cannot contain various special characters listed here. The IDE or the notebook will throw an error if you use such special character in a variable name, and you need not have to memorize them. There are few best practices we can follow while giving variable names. Use of lowercase or camel case is recommended while giving variable names. Also, giving a concise and meaningful name to a variable makes more sense, and you may also abbreviate it to some extent in order to do the same. It is strongly recommended not to use keyword which has special meaning in Python like str or int, as it may not allow your code to work in an expected way. Python is flexible on its data types. It supports dynamic typing, which typically means you can reuse a variable assigned with one data type to be used for another data type, and this will be fine while writing Python code. For example, we can use the variable myvar as integer data type by assigning it a value of 45. Later, we can reuse the same variable as a string and assign it a value of dynamic typing. And this will be perfectly valid and fine in Python. Dynamic typing comes with its own pros and cons, and it is debatable programming language with dynamic typing is better than static typing. But using dynamic typing, it is very easy to reuse the variables and provides much flexibility, but it may also result in bugs for unexpected data types, specifically when you are dealing with user inputs and no variable level restriction is there. Now let's discuss few of the number data type in Python. Integer is a data type in Python required for storing whole numbers, and it is denoted by int keyword in Python. Though in Python assigning value to variable determines its data type, and you can see what Python has taken the data type using the type function. We would be looking into this when we would be working with Jupyter Notebook. Example of integers can be any whole number like 0, 100, 67. Decimal numbers are stored in float data type in Python. Again, explicit definition or mapping is not required in Python, and a variable will be float variable if it is assigned some decimal values. Example for float data types can be 2.25, 4.37 or 100.0. In the Jupyter Notebook, let's start with some basic maths operation. So let's do 2 plus 3 and shift enter. So the output is 5. Now we do 5 minus 3 and the output is 2. Now we do 5 multiplied by 4. The output is 20. Now we can also do division operation like 6 slash or divide 3 and the output is 2.0. So for division the output is always floating point. Next we can do a power operation. So 2 raised to the power of 4. So the power is shown as double asterisk and then shift enter. So the output is 16. Mod operation returns you the remainder value on division operation of two numbers, say 19 mod 5. So percentage is the symbol for mod operation. So it returns 4. So the remainder of 19 divided by 5 is 4, and that is what is returned. So let's now do some multiple operation on the same line. So say 8 plus 7 plus 9 minus 12 minus 3, shift enter. So the output is 9. So if you want some operation to happen before the other, so you have to use bracket sign. So 8 plus 7 plus 9 minus 12 minus 3. So the 12 minus 3 will happen first and then the other operation. So the output is also different, that is 15. Now let's do these operations with use of variables. So I declare my num1 equal to 10 and another variable my num2 equal to 5. And now let's do num1 plus my num2 and let's see the output. So the output is 10 plus 5, 15. So let's again do my num. So you can do the autocomplete also here by pressing tab minus my num2, shift enter. So 10 minus 5, 5. So let's do the multiplication operation, my num1 multiplied by my num2, shift enter, and it's 5 into 10, 50. Let's do the division, my num1 divided by my num2, yeah, and it is 2.0. Let's do the power operation, my num1 power of my num2. So the output is 100,000. Next let's do the mod operation. So my num1 mod my num2. So the output is 0 because 10 divided by 5 is 2 and there is no remainder. So now let's see what data type Python has taken for the variables we have defined. So I will use the type function and pass the parameter my num1, shift enter, and the output is the int. So Python has taken this as an integer based on the value assigned. So next I will see the data type of my num2, shift enter, and again it's a int. I will take a third variable, say my num3, and do a divide operation of my num1 slash my num2 and see the output. So the result of my num1 divided by my num2 has been stored in my num3. So maybe I can print my num3. So it is showing as 2.0. Now let's see the data type of my num3. So you can see Python has automatically taken the data type of my num3 as float, as it is containing the result of a division operation. So this is how Python assigns the data type to the variables based on the value assigned. So let's do some quick math operation on decimal numbers. So I take the first variable as my DEC1 equal to 9.67 and the second one as my DEC2 equal to say 4.3, and let's take the third variable as my DEC3 equal to my DEC1 plus my DEC2. Let's take a fourth variable, my DEC4 equal to my DEC1 minus my DEC2. Let's take another variable, my DEC5 equal to my DEC1 multiplied my DEC2. Next, the divide operation, my DEC6 equal to my DEC1 slash my DEC2. Now let's print all the variables as output. Print my DEC3, print my DEC4, print my DEC5, and then shift enter. So you can see all the outputs has been listed for addition, subtraction, multiplication. I missed the division there, so let's print my DEC6 in this cell and shift enter. So you can see the output of the division is also printed. Let us now focus on the string data type in Python. Strings are ordered sequence of characters and numbers which are encompassed in a pair of single or double quotes. Example of strings can be "Welcome to the world of Python" encompassed in double quotes. Python is easy to learn encompassed in single quotes, or "Development is much easier with Python's easy syntaxes" where we encompassed in double quote and use the single quotes in the main string. Now let's do some string operation in Jupyter Notebook. I will start with single quote and say "Hello world of Python" and shift enter, and we get the output as "Hello world of Python." I will do the same thing with double quotes, "Hello world of Python" and shift enter, and we receive the same string. So I will show you the mix operation where I will use both double quote and single quote and see how it works. I will show you a problem where we try to print a single quote in the string. So let's type in single quote, then 8 single quote s fun to quote and then single quote. So now if you see the string the Python has recognized is still this one, and the rest of one is in black color. If you run this code, you will get a syntax error because Python is essentially understanding that the string has ended here and this part is syntactically not correct. To fix this, you may use double quote at the front and at the end, and this will fix your issue and it will return the string "It's fun to quote." You can also keep the single quote as is and just put a slash before the middle single quote and then run your code, and you will see it runs similarly. So there is no error if you put a slash here. The slash essentially means that I want to escape the single quote and want it to print in the string, and Python do it for me. Now I will explain you the print function. If you see the previous output, those are wrapped into single quotes, and you see the in and the out beside each cell because Python is just returning the string we are putting in the input as output. So if you actually really want to print the string, you have to use the print function and then double quotes and then type your string like "Hello world of Python," and when you press shift enter, you will see the out is not shown here and also the quotes are not there. With the print function, you can further use some escape sequences which you have used here like slash single quote, and which are very popular and useful also. So let me show you. Print hello world of Python, and before Python I just give a /n and then I execute the code. So if you see, the Python word has been printed in the second line. So as we have put a /n before the Python, so the new line character has to be printed before the Python word is printed. So the Python word is been printed on the next line. Another popular escape sequence is /t, which essentially means tab. So I use the same string, print double quotes hello world of Python, and I put a /t here, and you will see after executing that the word Python is printed after few spaces. By /t you can put a tab between your string. Next I will speak about the length function, which is essentially written as len, and you can type in hello world and then you press shift enter, and you see the length of the string including the spaces is 11. So HELLO 5 6 WORLD 5, 6 plus 5 11. So the length function determines the length of the string you have put it as an argument. Now let's discuss indexing on string. We can grab a single character from any string or string variable with help of indexing. Square bracket is being used after the string or the string variable with the index position of the character you want to grab encompassed in it as a string indexing notation. For example, if you want to grab y, the character from the string Python, you have to put 1 as index position in a square bracket after the string, as index in Python start from 0. In case you assign a value of world to some string variable, say sumstr, and want to grab the r character from it, you have to just put the index position of r in the square bracket after the string variable, and it will return you the r character. Again, please remember the index starts from 0 in Python. There are two ways you can index in Python. Forward indexing that we just discussed, where each character has its respective index position starting from 0 from the start of the string or from the left hand side. Reverse indexing, where you can start from the end of the string starting from -1 or -1 and incrementing negatively, that is -2, -3 from right to left, and the first character will be always having index 0. For the example shown here, you can see the index for both forward and backward indexing, and index position 4 and -2 will return the same character, that is O. So let's write some code on indexing in Jupyter notebook based on what we have learned. Let's write a string hello world and say if I want to grab the H letter from that string, I just put 0 and shift enter, and as indexing starts from 0, so you see it returns H. We can also assign a variable, say mystr equal to hello world, and then if I say like this mystr 0 to grab the H, it will return me H, as H is on the 0 index. If I want to grab O from the word hello, so it is 0 1 2 3 4, so I type the index as 4 and press shift enter, and it is returning O. So if I want to return the second O, so it's again 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, as spaces are also counted. So I put 7 and then shift enter, and it returns the second row. So if you see that the hello world string, if I want to return the L character, it is very difficult to count till the end. So Python has provided a flexibility where we can put reverse indexing. If I want to grab the letter L, I just put -2 as reverse indexing start from -1 for D and for L is -2, and I press shift enter, I get the character L. So again, if I want to get the character W with reverse indexing, so it is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So I put -5 here and press shift enter and I get the character W. So this is how the forward indexing and reverse indexing works in Python. So let's check what data type Python has taken for the variable mystr, which I have defined and stored hello world. So I will use the type function and pass mystr as the argument, shift enter, and you can see it has returned str, which is a keyword for string in Python. So Python has assigned mystr as string variable as I stored hello world a string into it. We can do another interesting operation on string where we can grab a subsection or a substring from the main string, and it is also called slicing. The notation for slicing is denoted by square brackets after a string or a string variable, and we may provide a start index, a stop index, and a step value. Start index is the index position of the character starting from 0, starting from the start of the string we want to slice. Stop index is the index position of the last character starting from 0, and then we have to add 1 to it. Please note, stop index is the index of the character which is up to but not included, which means that we have to always add 1 to the index of the last character we want to slice. Step is the value which determines the number of characters that need to be skipped from the main string into the substring, and it is defaulted to 1, which means none of the character needs to be skipped and the slice will contain all the characters. A value of 2 for step will pick alternative characters from the main string into the substring. I have laid down few examples of string slicing here. I will discuss this in more details in a bit. Now let's write some Python code in Jupyter Notebook on slicing based on what we have learned till now. So let me take a string variable str slice and assign a value miscellaneous and press shift enter. Let's print that variable to check it has been assigned correctly. Okay, so the miscellaneous word has been assigned to str slice. Now let's try to grab the subsection from the character C till the end of the word miscellaneous. So let's type the variable str slice and put the index of C at the start index. So 0, 1, 2, 3. And then put a colon as we want till the end. This can be blank after colon. So we run this and we see that we get the subsection from the character C up to end. Similarly, if we want the subsection say MISC from the start to the character C, so we can remove the start index and count the index of C, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, and we have to add 1 with it, which will be 4, and execute our code. So you can see that the word MISC has been printed from the string miscellaneous starting from the start till the character C. One point to be noted that the stop index is always 1 greater than the last index of the character we want to grab. Combining these two concepts, we can grab a middle section of this string. So let's try to grab CELL cell from the string miscellaneous. So let's first count the start index of C 0, 1, 2, 3, and then let's count the index of the second L 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and add 1 with 6, so it becomes 7. And now execute this code and we see that we grab the word cell from the string miscellaneous. Based on the same concept, if we do not put anything before and after the colon and just execute this, we will get the whole string. Now we have got to know how the start index and the stop index work. Let's see how the step works in slicing. By default, step has value 1, and which essentially means that all the characters will be printed sequentially. If we put a value 2 for step, so we put another colon inside the square bracket and just put a value 2, so it will mean that it will print alternative characters from the whole string since the previous values are not been set. So if we execute this, it will show M and it skips I, and S and it skips C, and E and it skips L, and it then prints the second L, and so on. So this is how slicing works in Python, and it is very helpful in various string operations. Now let's provide you the tip of this video. As I promised you, I will show you how to reverse a string in Python in a single line of code. If you are acquainted with some other programming language or even in Python, you can reverse a string using some loops and it will require multiple lines of code. But you can leverage the Python syntaxes to reverse any string in a single line of code. Let's see how we can achieve the same in action. So now let's see how we can reverse a string with a single line of code in Python. So we will take the same string, that is miscellaneous. So we will use the slice notation, so square bracket, and then we will put colon and another colon to select the whole string as we have learnt in our previous section, and then just put -1 as the step value and then execute the line of code, and you can see the string has got reversed. So this is a simple trick by which you can reverse the string with single line of code, and this also a very lucrative question for interviews. Now let us understand the homework for this video. Open the Jupyter notebook and assign the string "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog" and print the string. Also get the length of the string. Next, extract and print all the alphabet from A to Z from the string using indexing. Next, slice the word fox and dog from the same string. If you face any issue during doing this homework, please put into the comment section and I will give you the solution as a response. I will show you the solution of the homework in my next video and share the notebook file with you. I hope you are able to understand whatever I explained in this video. If you have any confusion or clarification required, please post in the comment section. If you have liked this video, please give a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the notification of my subsequent videos. Thank you all for watching this video till the end. Stay healthy and safe.